Is science dehumanizing? And I ask this question as someone who believes that science is the predominant tool we should use to understand the nature of reality. I'm Dr. Chris Errol, a molecular biologist and writer, and this is MOL-BIO. Science has dispelled a number of illusions that humanity had about its place in the universe. First, there was Nicholas Copernicus, who displaced humanity from the centre of the solar system and instead showed that the Earth revolves around the sun. Then Charles Darwin, with his theory of evolution, shows that humans are a part of nature. We are not separate. For some people, this is seen as a way of diluting the importance of humanity, at least on the cosmic level. And philosophers such as Friedrich Nietzsche in the 1800s even concluded that God is dead. Basically, that through scientific investigation into the nature of reality, God was never found, and we could no longer rely upon God to give our lives meaning. However, if we look into the modern world, there are still billions of people throughout the world who believe in God. Explored the evolution of humans as meaning-making rather than human-finding creatures in the same way that cognitive scientists have been doing. A result of that exploration would be that the need for meaning is an intrinsically human quality. And if so, then isn't science in a way dehumanizing, regardless of whether you believe in a God, whether you see that as a delusion or an illusion? And I think it's really important to make a distinction between cosmological grand narratives, which could be, for example, a belief in God, or the absence of a cosmological grand narrative, that type of meaning, and the subjective meaning, or some philosophers would call subjectivist meaning, the one which we have some freedom. Not everyone has equal freedom in which to create for ourselves in our lives, how we interact with others and how we see ourselves in our place in society. Just in the same way that Jean-Paul Sartre, the existential philosopher, discussed in the 1940s. Sartre discusses the way in which we have this freedom to construct meaning is somewhat terrifying. His friend and writer Albert Camus had a different approach, a radical acceptance of the true nature of reality, which we should confront head on. For me, as someone who does not hold a grand narrative type of cosmological meaning framework, I believe that the meaning we create in our lives is the only one that we know exists for certain. And in so, there is a large responsibility. I now see things and activities, relationships, as things that either enrich my life with meaning or detract from it. In the same way, we can see how our societies are constructed and the political forces involved. Are they bringing meaning to life? Are they making things better? Or are they detracting meaning from people's lives? And when we view things in this way, we can see that not everybody has the same equal opportunity to living a meaningful life as our world is currently constructed. It shows us that things can be better, but they could also be worse, and that there's an importance that we should all take meaning incredibly seriously, just as we have evolved as meaning-making creatures.